Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all people unite here to take a very, very shocking look at the state of Age of Mythology Retold right now, because in the top left of the map, playing as the blue Loki, off the back of his incredible Loki performance in the Champions League Season 4 Grand Finals, it is the Therapl. He is going to be showing everyone what he worked on, how he worked on it, and everything else. His opponent today is none other than the man that pushed him to 7 games and almost prevented him from even having a shot at the Grand Finals, let alone winning the Grand Finals. This guy here in the red color, his name is Mosca. So we got 2 of the literal best players currently playing the game. It's not like the best players is in like a top 100 player is like that's a best player playing the game, right? Like if you're a top 100, you're pretty bloody good at the game. But this is like literal top 2, top 3, top 4 types here. We're gonna have ourselves a very, very fun game. Let's have a little look see at the relic cities on the map Midgard. This is a map we didn't get to see all too much recently because in the tournament it did not show up, but it is in the ranked ladder. And I do actually like this map a lot when players play interesting gods on it. For example, Loki here is really interesting. Poseidon is also quite interesting there as well, as the Scarab Pendant on the map over there. We've got the Black Lotus over here. Generally don't see all too much farming going on this map, but it is a possibility. Over into the middle, we have the Head of Orpheus, building line of sight +8 there. And finally, at the top of the map, there is the Shenong's Ochre Whip, which is another farming relic. So there's both of the farming relics on this one. So maybe there's some sort of a way to play towards that, but I don't think it's going to be that important. Let's have a little look-see at what Therapl has scouted out. He's come into the main base. He drops down that spy, gets out of there with a couple of arrows in the back, but none hit his knee, so he's able to escape, and he is good to go. Meanwhile, we are seeing the scouting from the hippocampus here. Now, this is the hippocampus, the hippo. With the hippo over here just scouting around. The really nice thing, this isn't like a huge boost. In fact, it's not a boost at all, but it's just a nicety of playing Poseidon on this map with that scout. Means you're always going to be knowing super early on where to drop your second dock. You can see over here Mosca, he puts his first dock here. He moves quickly over onto these second fishing spots. If he didn't send his scout over this way, he wouldn't have known that he could go he could go double dock on this side, basically. Of course, over on this side, he could have gone for an A dock, but still, it's just a nice thing. And you can kind of do the same thing by just literally sending your own fishing ships over onto these places nice and early. You don't actually have to have 3 fish on the close spot. You can send them off to a second spot, scouting out and seeing which way to go, which way is the best way for that dock and things like that. But yeah, we'll see how it all goes. We've got a second dock up over here as a second Berserk is also out. I do like these openings. I think it's very smart to get yourself that second Berserk out and going. Reason being is, well, one builder is just not enough here. And it's not been enough for a very, very, very long time in Age of Mythology's history. So this is like super smart from Therapl. He's going to get himself out some Hursar as well. He needs to be very, very careful of early game rushes coming through. As I see a budding Ares aficionado in the chat, I will go out on the limb and say, if there was a map and a matchup for Poseidon to go Ares in, this would be it. Now, the angle here isn't to actually rush out Hephaestus or anything. The angle is literally just to play for those Ares upgrades and basically be playing into infantry more so that you can get the Hephaestus out. You can get the nice strong Toxotes out that you need, and you're not really going for anything super crazy, but you're just not going to be going for that many cav. We are going to be seeing Mosca here, however, going for his Hermes. Now, this isn't a terrible idea either. Only problem is that your opponent playing Loki is going to be having that extra food, which does mean if you do want to go into a whole bunch of Centaur, it's not that hard to just spam a whole bunch of Hursar out and put a stop to it. So we'll see exactly what the plan is there with that favor income from Mosca. It might just be for upgrades. He might just be going Spirited Charge, Lord of Horses, and then also going into going into like Thracian horses later. It's been somewhat standard for Poseidon here to go like very, very heavy on the cav on this sort of a map. You can do it with Zeus as well, mind you. But yeah, with Poseidon, it does make a lot of sense. That being said, you are up against Loki, and Loki does have those souped up herdmen, which can make your life very, very sad. Meanwhile, very stock standard moves here from Therapl at the start, getting himself Persin, getting himself Pickaxe. He's got himself Hand Axe already here, and he's going to be dropping a Longhouse. So all of these things, super, super standard. Going to be pumping out those Hersa in the main base over here. There is a market from Mosca. Now, I don't mind this. I think a nice quick heroic gauge makes a lot of sense here from Mosca. But it does give Therapl some time to make some things happen. He's also going to get himself out of Pentaconta, looking to put some pressure on. One downside, to some degree, of playing Loki here over, say, playing Odin or playing Thor is that you don't have access to Skadi. Now, you do get access to the Long Serpent technology from going through Bragi here, which can make your archer ships a little bit stronger, but not having that really strong freezing technology with Skadi does hurt a little bit, but Pentaconta is going to be searching around here, looking for just little bits of pressure, forcing out some boats here. Do see the longboats as well as heroic fleet on the way. The fact of the matter here is, though, that the Pentaconta is quite fast, so wherever this longboat comes out, it's only got 5.5 speed, so you can simply just run. Run, sail away, row away. You can simply just row away with this bad boy if need be. Meanwhile, over onto this side, however, we are seeing a couple of Hersa causing some problems. There's a military academy going to be coming through, and Mosca is not prepared for this in the slightest. There's a lot of idle time. He didn't have his walls up. That's a lot of units in here. Dionysus is halfway on the way. He does have himself some straggler trees underneath his main base, so that could be enough. He can pop over onto the other side of the towns and no problems here, as Therapl is looking for a maximum amount of value for the moment. Up onto the top there, the storehouse going to be coming down as a stable and military academy coming in, but Mosca might have to just drop ceasefire here. He doesn't get access to Curse because he is, Curse does have, he does have Curse with Poseidon, but he's not going for that. He's not going for that Aphrodite. He's not going to have any defensive god powers here. This bronze he's going to get is a very specific god power, as the houses are coming up, the defensive buildings all over the place. And what now Mosca can do, which is actually really, really interesting, is he can actually go for some Prodromus here. He doesn't have to go for Hippias. Save on the gold, get the strong Prodromus out. Great answer for the cavalry. And then also get yourself the Hypaspis out, and then maybe also some Peltast. So you're going into pure counter units here with the idea that you're going to be trying to just get yourself a really strong army off that 1,300 gold that's left in your main base. Meanwhile, on the other side, more longboats are coming in because of the threat of these Skylar and all that other good stuff, as a second Skylar, or Hydra, I should say, is on the way now for Mosca, and Bragi will be coming through as well. Now, ceasefire isn't a hard counter to flaming weapons, but it does stop the fight, and if the units are really far out of position, then they can just chase them down and still get a little bit of value after all is said and done. But Mosca now says he's got a pretty strong army. He's not wrong. Hypaspis really, really good versus those infantry units. Going to be able to take out some houses here, maybe open up a move over onto this gold mine. The game plan for Mosca here should be to be playing this somewhat slowly. You want to play it slowly in the sense that if we can just survive and get onto a second gold mine and not die to this flaming weapons timing, then we're in a really good position to try and force, say, a Mythic Age, like force a late game type ordeal here. Great turn from Therapl. He sees an opportunity here to take out a couple of units as the Paspist going down on the back here, and Mosca going to have to pull back into his main base for the time being, but he has opened up this top position and killed off an armory, which is not nothing. Still haven't seen any of those much needed Prodromus. Now one is coming through, and the reason why these are so good, especially as Poseidon, but also versus a 4-city user, is that only 6 speed. Now one might even be enough to win all this. These are incredibly powerful, those Prodromi. Nonetheless, onto the front here, however, the army is coming through, and those Hydra are getting smacked in onto as the pacifist need to get the damage in, but as they're chasing those Hydra away, the pacifists have to chase, and the Herser have got the speed advantage here. Up onto the top, however, a battle ball going down. I am somewhat surprised to see Hydra getting built at this stage, but I mean, he's got the answer. So long as he can micro somewhat well here. Throwing the Hydra away on the front, not ideal. So many resources there. And nonetheless, he does come through, pushes back for the time being. Therapl has just got himself such an overwhelming advantage in terms of military. Yes, Moscow's macro, not the best here. He could potentially have himself an extra 1,000 resources in terms of archers, as well as maybe some extra stuff elsewhere. But even if he'd done that, it's still somewhat of an advantage for Therapl. So Moscow does need to figure that out. Now, one thing that Moscow does have going for himself here is he's got the armory advantage, which is quite big, as heavy infantry and heavy cavalry are going to be on the way. The villagers will slowly move up here, but with ceasefire on the cards, Therapl probably not going to be wanting to click flaming weapons anytime soon. Should note that there is a little bit of stuff happening over here. Did he grab that serpent? Long serpent? No. But we do see the Krakens coming through, causing some problems over onto this side as well. Problems getting caused. Lots and lots of chaos here on the side of Moscow. As Moscow's now looking to roam around here. He does have the speed advantage. He's got that 6.9 speed Prodromus. He's got the 6.3 speed Hippias. So there is a speed advantage. He can run around and just cause problems, and basically Therapl can't deal with this. But obviously he's not going to be able to get, like, Moscow's not going to be able to get any damage done, but Therapl can't really stop him running around like this. So that's a big thing. As a hill fort coming up onto the left side, something that Moscow would very, very much love to be able to do is just plant that fortress on this gold mine over here. The units here spotting a couple of stray Hippias as they do manage to get away with their lives. It'll be a long time for them to heal back up, though, down to like 15 HP, as the Kraken mass just causing so much damage over here. Do I have the myth unit multiplier heroic fleet in for the trireme? But like, you need around about 3 trireme to take out 1 myth unit is the basic differential where that's concerned. There's a couple more houses to come up. Now remember, there is still bronze on the cards, so if Moscow needs to click ceasefire, it's not the end of the world. He's going to be able to fight back. The only issue is he doesn't have access to restoration, which is a really big counter to hell. Now you ask me, why is restoration a counter to hell, or specifically a counter to the Nidhogg? The reason is that you get yourself a ball of archers plus your heroes. The Nidhogg flies in thinking it's going to be able to roast the backline of archers, and you click restoration, the archers do not die, and they actually are able to get damage dealt back onto the Nidhogg for the entirety of that 5 seconds, and the Nidhogg needs to get out of there. But that's obviously not an option here, as you do have a cheeky little lure getting dropped down at 13 minutes. I love a heroic age lure. You don't get to see that all too often. It does take a long time to pull the hunt in, but it's actually quite nice, the amount of chickens you get and all the other good stuff, as Moscow now has managed to get himself an army that looks incredibly terrifying here, but he might be feeling like he needs to do a little bit more than he actually does need to do here. Charging forward over onto that side. Realistically, fortress, town center, and continue to play slow has to be the angle here for Moscow. Therapl will be in front here, but he's not going to be able to end the game, especially if he can grab, say, this gold mine in the middle. In fact, that's the game plan here. As a 4 gold mine mid guard, we're actually looking to take as many winning trades as we possibly can here, because gold is going to run out. In fact, economically speaking, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm behind on income. What matters is I have my gold mines. That is the most important thing, but it's looking like Moscow's army is a little worse for wear here as the flaming weapons gets dropped. Ceasefire comes down. You can see there's a differential there of about 13 seconds, so there will be a little bit more damage to come through after the fact. But bronze is still going to be on the cards. And Therapl, I mean, he's got somewhat of an economic advantage, I guess, from all the idle time on these fishing ships and whatnot. Life has been a little bit tricky. One thing that Mosca is definitely missing here is it's his peltast, basically. He's missing those peltast, and without those, well, how's he going to kill off those thrown axemen? Yeah, you've got Hippias, but just get a couple of peltasts. At least have like 5 peltasts out is my take. You don't even have to have them upgraded. They're so good at taking out the thrown axemen. Nonetheless, Mosca is looking like he is getting caught out of position by just a little bit, as well as the favor gain from Therapl is starting to pick up here. He's up to 110 favor. Hasn't really spent it on anything here. Clearly wanting to save for hell and potentially making himself... I have to guess he wants fire giants. You can go for frost giants. You can go for like mountain giants as well, but generally fire giants makes the most sense, as these Kraken still causing so many issues here. You're almost like kicking yourself for not going Aphrodite in this one, just so you can get the Argo out. And it's an absolute answer for all of these Kraken. Of course, you've also got the access to the Skylers as well, if you want to be making those. But Mosca, he has to kind of save up for another ceasefire here in a way, as the Herdmen come down, grabbing himself another town center. I think it's a little bit of a mistake from Therapl, because he has managed to get himself quite a bit of an advantage. If he just slaps a hill fort down on this top gold mine, and then he squeezes, he doesn't need that third town center for population or anything here. He just needs buildings up and locking off these positions and mining those resources out as fast as he possibly can. But nonetheless, the thrown axemen making their way up onto this side as the red army to come back through here. And the big difference right now is going to be hell on the way, boiling oil coming through. And the villagers for Mosca do make their way up onto this side. Now, one way to play around Nidhogg is basically by hugging your fortresses. Whenever the Nidhogg comes through, you're going to garrison the villages, garrison the army, and you just keep on putting up more fortresses. Getting to the Mythic Age most of the time is not really that important. We actually do see those peltasts now getting mixed in, which I love for Mosca, but he definitely needs a fortress up yesterday. Like, if Therapl sees this, of which he doesn't, but if Therapl sees this, then the Nidhogg will go straight on top of that. All the villagers will be dead. And I know I'm saying that the economy doesn't matter that much, but losing all those villagers does indeed matter. As Mosca trying to break through, he's still got bronze. He's not clicking that bronze down. As the Nidhogg comes through, bronze does get dropped down, but now this is going to be area of effect damage all over onto this, and it doesn't matter. That bronze, I mean, sure, the Nidhogg isn't actually doing any divine damage, but the bronze is just so useless versus all of that area of effect damage, and Mosca loses everything on that fight and taps out as Therapl manages to convert the game, convert the situation, and all the other good stuff there. With some incredibly powerful Loki on this map. I think Mosca, he didn't, I don't think he had quite the right idea here. I think you do want to play a very, very defensive game, map control game. And so long as you can go 50-50 on the gold mines and not be losing units, it doesn't really matter if your opponent gets to 2 TC before you here. It's like, it's almost flipped in terms of, like, if you're playing a land map, Norse versus Greek, the Greek player being up a town center for a couple minutes generally is over. You can kind of overcome it by going for a later-ish town center from the Norse. But on the water maps, I feel like it's flipped just on the fact that, like, the percent difference on income is so much less because you got all that fishing economy. So what matters actually more than getting super far in front on economy is actually just getting your gold mines sorted out. defending the power spikes that Norse has got, and playing for those sorts of situations here. That's the Greek game plan to some degree. Of course, hitting some nice raids here and there would have been really nice, but Therapl, very, very beautiful positioning on the majority of his economy. Moscow really couldn't find anything with that. He did have the speedy Hippias and things like that. But in reality, I think this fight here was just a very, very tough one to take and win. Just pull back, get the fortresses up, maybe even go for this top town center, or give it away. It doesn't matter. You can siege it down with some Petropolites, not a big problem, and win the long game, so to speak. But a well played game here from Therapl. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you hit the follow button. If you're on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.